Intellectual Army. I'm the serial intellectual, author of over 10 books. And as you guys know, one of my passion is personal development. Recently released 2 books, Metamorphic Dictus and Be You, Encouragements for Authenticity. Both of these books are really geared to help you with personal development. I got 20 years of experience working in organizations with leaders and all different types of people. The author of 6 original personal development tools. And I want to talk to you about the secret to personal development. It's self-talk. And there's a guy that most of us know who basically just gives us away. And I think sometimes we get so enamored by his energy and his gift and his story that we miss like the heart of it. And it's self-talk. And that's David Goggins. I want to show you a video that illustrates the power and the usefulness and the absolute necessity of self-talk. Check this out.
So I've been grinding lately, every day, running over 20 miles a day, getting up early, going to bed early, eating the right shit. This last week started taking a toll on me. I usually don't think too much, get my shoes on, head the fuck out. I've been thinking a lot. That internal voice that's been talking to me, talking about, oh man, you're tired. Looking at my shoes about 30 minutes before I put the motherfuckers on, pushing back the time of that I go out to go run. So I decided to tape record myself. That internal voice I put on tape. Sounds like a straight bitch when I listen to that motherfucker. So if you ever have a hard time out there, tape yourself. Listen to what kind of bitch you're being. Stay hard. So I've been grinding.
Wow. There's so much that could be said here. Self-talk is real. Everybody does it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't. Everybody's doing this. You're either conscious of it or unconscious. If you're not conscious of it, that's dangerous, because that means that part of you has absolute mastery, control of you, and is pulling all the levers, giving the gas, and turning the steering wheel, and you're just on cruise control. People who do self-development and personal development well, they're very self-aware of what's going on inside of them. And they know self-talk is real. Number 2, the most powerful voice in your life is the one that only you hear. It's your voice. It's the things you say to yourself. We all know this. This is the secret. This is David Goggins' secret. It's self-talk. You heard it right there. And he does it every single time he talks. And this is true for every single successful person. Now, some people, when you hear them talk, maybe a Gary Vaynerchuk or Alex Hormozy or other people, when you hear them talk, they may not seem like they're doing this because they just seem so confident. They're doing it. They're just masters at it. It's second nature to them. It's a habit. They're just always doing it. It's just a part of their life. That's the issue. So when you do self-talk, what's going to happen is you're going to have to confront your narratives. Narratives are the stories we tell ourselves to explain ourselves. Narratives are the stories we tell ourselves to justify ourselves. Narratives are the stories we tell ourselves to validate ourselves. Sometimes those narratives are erroneous and fallacious. They're survival mechanisms. When you do self-talk, it can be painful, which is why I think a lot of people don't do it. A lot of people don't want to be alone with themselves because then they hear themselves. It's one of the reasons why a lot of us don't like space. You know what happens when you give the soul space? It throws up. Stuff comes out. A lot of people don't want space. They're like, I don't want to hear myself. Right. That's a problem, right? It's absolutely necessary. If you're going to experience growth and self-awareness, self-talk is absolutely necessary. Any type of growth. I define personal development as experiencing growth in self-awareness, relational aptitude, the ability to do relationships better, personal skills, vocational effectiveness, and fulfillment in life. You cannot be growing in those areas without some type of methodology to address self-talk. You got to be doing it. Now, here's the issue. Some of you are going to say, well, how do you do it? Well, Goggins says tape yourself. Now, for some of us, that's kind of extreme. Like, oh my gosh, I think that's a great way to do it. Here's another way you could do this. You could get a pen and a pad. I'm still old school. You could write. You could write. You could get your phone. You could open up your notes and you could write in there. In other words, you can start by being attentive to those voices you hear. Write the thoughts down. Write them down. Like, let's make some progress. Write them down. And especially what I would say is the first thing in the morning. What are your first thoughts about in the morning? What are your first thoughts when you think about, oh, I need to start this business? What are your first thoughts? What are the first things you say to yourself? Write those things down and then create space and time where you can sit with those things. And I like to do an exercise. This is my exercise. I like to put those thoughts and like personify them. This is what works best for me. Recording might work best for you, like with Goggins. I like to personify them and like give them a seat at the table and talk to them like they're a person. Like, and so what are you interested in? And what are you trying to protect me from? And what's your goal? And you say, that sounds weird. Well, we're all doing it like on some level. It's not weird. It's healthy. It's very healthy. Because what you don't own is going to own you. What you're not going to take responsibility for inside of you will take responsibility for you. You have to assign these thoughts and this self-talk a place and a priority. They'll just run rampant. And you know this to be true. We know this to be true. And finally, something you could do is you could become more aware. You could gain more access to personal development tools, to assessments. And those things are helpful. And here's the thing. I want to leave you with this. Don't do this by yourself. Like, you need to do it by yourself, but at some point, incorporate someone you love and trust that can help you through this process. Don't do it all by yourself. You need to do some of it by yourself, but then you need to take that stuff to trusted friends, family, spouse, brother, sister, uncle, therapist, whatever. Because people can see things about you and hear things that you don't often hear. And you can simply say, hey, I took this and I wrote these things down. And these are some of the things I'm saying to myself. What do you think about that? And here's what I'm saying back to that. What do you say about that? Like, that's helpful. I hope this was helpful. It's helpful for me. It's a reminder. The most powerful influence in your life is the voice that no one hears but you. Grace and peace.